The following program is a SUTV student production. The views expressed are not necessarily those of Salisbury University, the University System of Maryland, its regents, administration, officers, employees, or representatives.
Such as Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Dane Fowler.
From there because some of them weren't seniors, so they were
a local opportunity for those who are financially dependent. Currently,
catchphrase at Salisbury University. It's a standard operating procedure.
It's just points. Good evening and welcome to SUTV Evening News. We begin tonight's broadcast with the suspension of yet another fraternity on the Salisbury University campus. SU's chapter of Phi Beta Sigma was suspended earlier this week due to allegations of hazing. For more on this story, we go to SUTV's Brooke Reese.
A third fraternity here at Salisbury University has been suspended until the spring semester of 2017. Phi Beta Sigma will join as the third fraternity in the last 5 years to be suspended on accounts of hazing. We spoke to Dean of Students Valerie Randall Lee to see what's to come for the fraternity.
We received an anonymous complaint back in October that we had evaluated and did not find enough information on it to go forward with it. And then about a month later, we received additional complaints. We researched those as well, and then did find enough information that we believe that there was a violation of university's policies and procedures with regard specifically to hazing. Anybody who feels that they may be experiencing something that could be hazing and they're not even sure if it is, or if they know somebody else might be, I would always want them to do, they can contact one of three areas. I would say they could contact Student Affairs office, absolutely. Also to go to our Student Activities office, to our coordinator for Fraternity and Sorority Life is Sarah Lowry, or they can also speak with Tricia Smith, that's in the Student Activities office, or they can go to University Police as well.
I wasn't shocked, to be totally honest with you, just because I think it's pretty evident that it's going on everywhere. It's going on within the sports teams, it's going on within the fraternities, the sororities. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I think the fact that you should know that by now, that to join a fraternity, you need to do something stupid. To join a sorority, you're going to get, some uncomfortable event that's going to happen. You ask anybody within a sorority, anybody within any fraternity, it's going on.
I think one of the biggest things that affects them is a peer pressure. It's a desire to belong, and a feeling that if I don't do these activities, I'm not going to be able to belong to this group, or they're going to call me a wuss, or there's going to, in some way, I'm going to have a negative connotation that's going to be attached to me if I don't do these things.
We spoke with SGA President and member of Sigma Tau Gamma, Evan Miller, to see how being a fraternity has affected his college career.
It is the networks. People sit there and they have that idea that you're paying for your friends, and that's not really what it's about. We pay to have fun outside of it, don't get me wrong. We have our fun sides outside of Greek life. But in regards to actually building that connections, you've got people that always have your back, a wide vast of people that are willing to help you out in case you need assistance, whether it's academically or with groups or jobs on campus. And from there, that's how my roommates I've been living with for the past several years, we've all been in the same fraternity. Some of the jobs I've gotten have been because of some of my brothers. So things like that have been also benefits as well, being part of it. Outside of that, we do our best to assist everyone else. We participate in all the sorority events and as many fraternity events as possible. Relay for Life as well, we're a huge contributor. Sig Tall was actually the first chapter in history last year to raise more money than the Relay for Life committee. Which was pretty awesome to see.
The national chapter of Phi Beta Sigma says that they are in support of all anti-hazing policies within the fraternity. And the Salisbury City Police Department will give no comment at this time, as this is an ongoing investigation. For SUTV Evening News, this is Brooke Reese.
Thank you, Brooke. And we've received a statement from Dane Faust, the head of Student Affairs, about this matter. In his statement, he said that although Salisbury University's fraternity and sorority system represents a small portion of the campus population, less than 9%, most of its members have made worthwhile contributions to the campus and greater community, supporting charitable events and nonprofit organizations such as the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life and service programs such as Community Cleanup Days, I Love Salisbury, and The Big Event. We will be sure to follow that story as it develops and bring you updates as to hazing legislation in the state of Maryland. And this semester, we've had a number of closures and delays because of the weather. SUTV sat down with University Police Chief Edwin Lashley as well as the school's provost, Dr. Diane Allen, about what goes into the decision to close the campus, as well as potential effects that the missed time will have on the academic year.
When we learn of a weather event as part of our emergency protocol, we begin to monitor all weather-related information that we receive in advance of an impending storm. Typically, we find most reliable the Wycomico County Emergency Management Agency provides weather updates to the police department, not only our police department, but all law enforcement agencies and emergency contacts in the county. And we rely heavily on that information. Typically, if we don't feel the effects or see the effects of a storm during a school day, during a session when classes are being attended, we have to make a call, or I have to, based on an assessment at 4 a.m. to the provost, providing her weather conditions, road conditions, and the projected or anticipated condition of the campus itself, including parking lots, sidewalks, etc.
So this year we have 2 snow days built in, and so those are already covered, and those are not days that we have to make up. We are required to have a certain number of hours in class. So for this 3rd day, what we have suggested to faculty is if they did not do something online for their students, that they can take reading day and use that flexibly as they need to do it. The biggest challenge is with our labs, trying to make sure that students have an opportunity to complete the labs that they need for their courses. Most people have been very satisfied that we have made good calls on this, and that we have really kept their safety at the top of our concerns.
Now Will Ovington gives us a look at what's going on with men's and women's lacrosse, as well as what the baseball and softball teams are doing with an SU Sports Update.
Thanks, Eli. Now time for just a quick recap of the past week in sports. Both men's and women's tennis went 4-0 last week, and both squads will be hosting an out-of-conference match against Washington College this weekend. Women's lacrosse went 2-0 last week, including a huge road win against #1 Franklin and Marshall. The 8-7 victory was capped off by a late goal by junior Megan Wallenhorst and a defensive wall in the closing minutes that couldn't be broken. Another impressive win against Mary Washington was enough to jump the Gulls up 4 spots to the #6 ranking. Earlier today, the Gulls beat Wesley 19-2, led by 8 points from San Quilter. Up next for the Gulls is another conference road game against Frostburg on Saturday. Men's lacrosse dropped a hard-fought game against Stevenson, falling 9-8 in overtime. The Seagulls won the face-off to start the extra frame and had 2 shots on goal, but after the second save, Stevenson cleared the ball and netted the game winner with 1:22 left to play. Sean Fitzgerald led the team with 5 points with 4 assists, while Carson Kalama led with 4 scores. The Seagulls bounced back on the road, picking up a convincing 29-4 win against Southern Virginia. They're back in action tonight at Wesley. Saturday, they'll be taking on Marymount in Seagull Stadium for Lax for Leukemia Youth Day, so be sure to come out and support a great cause. Softball went 6-0 last week, playing 3 doubleheaders and improving to 18-1 on the season. The Seagulls outscored their opponents 57-6, and 3 of the games were called early. The Gulls took on Stevenson in a doubleheader today, won their first 1-0, led by a perfect game and 15 strikeouts from Rachel Johnson, and won the second game by a score of 3-2. Baseball also went undefeated this week, going 4-0, continuing their undefeated season. Those 4 wins helped them keep hold of the #1 spot in this week's media poll and retain the #3 ranking in the coaches poll. They added another game to the win column earlier today, topping Wesley 7-3. Jessica Ree sat down with the baseball team to talk about the game philosophy and expectations for this season.
There are 2 different perspectives on baseball. I mean, Coach Fleetwood definitely really helped me out with the mental part of the game. He really helped me out there. Coach Brohan's more of a laid-back guy, but they definitely bring 2 different things to the plate, and they're both great coaches for sure.
I think just a little bit more laid back this year, but more organized at the same time, because Coach Brohan's been there. He's won a World Series, so he knows how to do it. So we just follow him.
Well, the tradition here. I was here 4 years prior with Coach Fleetwood and Coach Sires. They've done a tremendous job building a tradition around here that's respected across the country. I wasn't too sure about Division III baseball, but when I got here, I quickly learned how competitive it is, the time and effort that goes into it to make it pretty special. Well, I mean, the guys here had a great experience last year. Most of them were juniors going to the World Series. Obviously, that's always a goal to get there and to win it, and I'm pretty sure every new coach or every head coach says that. I really think that we have a good group of seniors that have a great chance to get back there if they work hard. So I'm not going to make any predictions, but I think we got a good group of kids that can do it.
That's all for this week's Sports Update. Now back to Eli.
Thank you, Will. We'll be right back with more SU news after this brief break.
So, are you going out tonight? I can't. My parents say I have to be home right after work. That's so gay. Totally gay.
Ugh, that is so Emma and Julia.
Why are you saying that's so Emma and Julia?
Well, you know, when something is dumb or stupid, you say that's so Emma and Julia.
Who says that?
Everyone.
Imagine if who you are were used as an insult. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today.
Oh, you should pick that up.
Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Now we take a look at what happened in history during the month of April with SUTV's Allison Haley.
This week on Today in History, we'll be taking a look at major events specific to the United States, the state of Maryland, and Salisbury University. On April 1st, 1789, the U.S. House of Representatives had their first full meeting in the history of the country. This meeting was held in New York City. The very first Speaker of the House was Frederick Muhlenberg of Pennsylvania. There were 65 members of the first House, 55 of them belonging to the Federalist Party and 10 of them belonging to the Anti-Federalist Party. In April of 1715, a crown rule was established in Maryland. King William and Queen Mary declared Maryland as a royal colony and appointed Sir Lionel Copley as governor. Maryland was now governed as a royal colony rather than as a proprietary province. Before Copley came into play, the colonists owned their own lands and created their own laws. After he was appointed into power, the colonists were under direct control of the crown and had no say in who ran the colony. In April of 1956, the Middle States Association of Colleges and Secondary Schools accredited Salisbury University as a whole. In order to receive this award of excellence, the university had to meet a specific criteria proving that it deserves this recognition. There are general accreditation policies, peer review process policies, programs and services, as well as the administrative procedures of the commission itself. Needless to say, it is an honor to receive this recognition. Thanks. Now back to you, Eli.
Thank you, Allison. The month of April is also Distracted Driving Awareness Month. University police remind students that using their phones while driving is not only dangerous but also illegal. For more on what you can do to help prevent distracted driving, visit the university's website or check your email. And on Tuesday, the Purdue School of Business hosted a career advisory board panel for management, marketing, and human resources. These panels are designed to help students network and meet professionals in their given fields. The next panel will be on accounting and finance and will take place in Purdue Hall 156 at 3:30 p.m. And now we go to a brief break before we come back with SGA elections.
At shelters, you'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Why wait? You can make a difference in the life of an animal. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person and adopt your new best friend today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Well, SGA elections are here, and polling stations will be available on campus until Friday, and students also have the option to vote online until 5 p.m. For more on this year's student government elections, we talked to a current member of the SGA as well as some students.
SGA is important because we are the voice for the students. We can make that change on campus. So if you want to see something change, we have the power to do that. Students should come out to vote because our exec board next year is very motivated to get the input from students, get their suggestions, and make those changes that we didn't make this year. We focus more on planning this year. We want to make changes next year.
I think it's important to vote. However, I've been very busy, so that's one of the reasons I didn't vote. And in general, I think it's important to vote, though.
I feel like SGA is important for, the student body. I mean, they represent us and they put together awesome activities, so, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know much about the SGA here, so I don't know if it's important or not, but if I did, I probably would vote.
And now we're joined by Tyler Gibson and Mario Oriano, the two of whom are running for president and executive vice president, respectively. Thank you for joining me, fellas.
Thank you.
Tyler, I'm going to start with you. Why did you decide to run for president this year?
I decided to run for president because I see an opportunity to enhance how students interact with the SGA. We've been finding it hard to communicate with students mainly, to hear what they have to say, what kind of changes they want to make on campus. So something I thought about was maybe creating a hashtag. Something I pulled from another school actually, it was hashtag WTFSU. It doesn't stand for what the bleep, but what to fix at SU. So if you're walking across campus and you trip on a crack in the sidewalk that you see other people tripping on, while you're walking to class, pull out your phone and tweet at the SGA, fix the crack in the sidewalk in front of Devil Abyss, hashtag WTFSU. So we know what students want. It doesn't have to be on-campus things like cracks in sidewalks. It can be, we don't like the way the recognition status is for RSOs. Can you please look into it? And we can get the feedback from students and then kind of go on the journey together with students.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying that there's a certain level of apathy when it comes to getting involved with the SGA, whether it's reaching out as an RSO or working with you guys, or running for the positions as all of you this year are running unopposed. Mm-hmm. How do you think, as president, you could change that, fix that? What are some other ideas you have to get students more involved with the process?
Yeah, I mean, the SGA has always had problems communicating with students and kind of bridging the gap between the SGA and the main or the campus overall. So one way we plan to change that is to interact more with students, maybe put tables in various academic buildings and really pulling students over and saying, hey, what do you think about this issue on campus? Do you want to get involved with it? For example, we have several complaints about the dining services food. Some people don't like it and they maybe want to be involved in the process of changing it, but they don't know that there is an actual committee on campus where you can change and have input on the food that is served in commons and the satellite dining areas. So maybe through having the tables on campus during high traffic hours, we can let people know these services are available to you. The SGA is here to help you with any endeavor you want to do on campus, so just keep us in contact with what you want, and then we can build that relationship with people, and then they'll be more involved with the SGA throughout the year.
Mario, I'll turn to you. Why are you running for the office of Vice President for SGA?
I think it's the next step that I want to take in my career with SGA, especially because I have been Vice President of Diversity in the past before. And so with that position, I was able to work with a lot of groups that are part of the Multicultural Alliance, and I saw their struggles, how they felt that their voices weren't being listened to, and so I decided that this is the next step that I wanted to take to kind of fix and mediate, the problems before that SGA has with some RSOs, and also, kind of have RSOs feel open to come to SGA if they have any problems or concerns, or if there's any way we can help them out to improve the students' participation in their clubs.
What specifically do you feel that can be done? I mean, we've talked before about this disconnect between RSOs and the SGA. What more can be done to kind of forge that bond or forge that relationship and get a better working experience going there?
I think have more representation within like supporting other RSOs events. One thing is saying supporting them in the sense of having them come to the SGA office and be like, hey, I have an idea about this event, let's make it happen. Another thing is just following through. And I think one of the things that we need to do as SGA is have more presence there to their events to show support, and that way you can start building a relationship with them. Tyler,
as I mentioned earlier, you all are running unopposed, but there is still the option for students to write in candidates and even give a no vote.
Yeah.
Is that something that I guess either one of you are concerned about in your candidacy specifically?
Not really, no. When I've been talking to people on campus about elections and them being open, I always mention that all of the positions are running unopposed, but I don't use that as a bad thing. I tell them on the election ballot, there's a little biography with our picture. You can get to know us, just some facts about us and what we see the vision for SGA being with the next year. And if they don't like that, they can choose not to vote for us, or they can write in another candidate. But whenever I talk to people, for example, before my classes start, I'll ask the teacher to give a brief, just comment about the elections being open. And if they say, why vote if everyone's running unopposed, I always tell them that there is the option to write in a candidate. It doesn't have to be the person that's running gets the job. If you think someone's more qualified for it, feel free to write them in, and then that vote will be taken into consideration if they do meet the requirements overall.
You both have been in SUTV, in SGA for a couple of years now. Why do you think this level of apathy still exists? What have you been doing to try to fix it, and why isn't it working out? I'll start with you, Mario.
Well, I was saying I've been part of SGA for the past 3 years, ever since freshman year, and I think it's just a lack of motivation and lack of following through to what we want our goals to be is one of the big problems I have seen, especially in SGA, and I think that whoever gets elected for the next academic school year to be the representatives of SGA need to really set some goals and follow through on them, with them, and just continue working really hard to encourage students participation, and also get more involved with campus and have more presence.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. There has been this disconnect between the SGA and clubs on campus. So for next year, whoever gets elected, I think really needs to, like Mario said, do more to be involved with everyone on campus, the students and the RSOs. If we do more to kind of enhance participation on both sides, then I think that the apathy will disappear and everyone will just be motivated and involved together for the better of both the SGA, the campus, and all of the RSOs on campus.
Finally, before I let you guys go to the last question, as members of the campus community, what do you think that it says, and not just with this most recent case, but with the number of fraternities being suspended for hazing? Do you think that that is something that is indicative of the Greek life culture here at SU, or what's your take on these things happening here in Salisbury?
I definitely didn't think it would ever happen at Salisbury. I don't think it's representative of the whole Greek culture, especially at the national level. There are so many Greek organizations across the world, I mean, America primarily, but you can't just stereotype the actions of a few to the whole. Like I said, I didn't think it would happen at Salisbury. It's unfortunate that it did, but I think it's an isolated case and it can be dealt with through educational training courses, just saying this is bad and there should be some consequences, I believe.
Mario, do you think that there is anything that the SGA should or can do to kind of help prevent this or get the word out about this?
You know, this is just a really kind of touchy subject, and I've never been part of Greek life, but you know, like any other male student here, we always have thought of maybe joining a Greek life, but I think one of the things that we need to do as SGA is definitely reach out to them and see how they're doing, if there's any way we can work with them to maybe solve this problem. And, you know, because there, although, you know, they try to separate ourselves from Greek life, they're still a part of the student body. And I think that, you know, their issues are our issues as well, because as SGA, we try to represent the whole student body, and we don't, you know, discriminate or anything like that. So I think that as SGA, what we need to do is just have a conversation and then, you know, set some guidelines, but most of all, see what the problem is and what this continues to happen.
Finally, is there anything you'd like to add about the work that SGA does or the work that you've done with the SGA?
You know, at the moment, I just say I would just like to encourage the viewers to go out and most of all participate and vote, because although a lot of people are running unopposed, it doesn't mean that you don't have the right to go out and vote. And like Tyler said, if, for example, you don't like one of the candidates based on what their bio says, then you always have the power to have a write-in. So I encourage everyone to go out and vote.
Tyler?
The SGA does do a lot more than what some of the students see. I think a lot of people don't understand that what problems that are brought to the SGA and the SGA solves on campus doesn't just impact Salisbury. For example, the SGA at Towson passed some rules saying, kind of hinting at sexual, I don't know the word for it, but like harassment for interns working at the university to protect them from those harassment issues. And from that being passed at Towson, it then traveled across the state and is being talked about at the state level, so it can impact all of the universities in Maryland. So I really want to tell students that the work that we do at SGA can impact students at Salisbury University and impact the whole university system of Maryland. So bring us any of your questions, concerns, or problems, and it can have the impact statewide.
Thank you so much for joining us, fellas, and best of luck to you in your candidacies.
Thank you for having us here.
That does it for this week's edition of SUTV Evening News. We hope to see you back next week. Good night.
Such as Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Dane Fowler.
From there, because some of them weren't seniors, so they were.
It's a local opportunity for those who are financially dependent. Currently,
catchphrase at Salisbury University. It's a standard operating procedure. It's just part of